Hello, I'm Roman Fuentes, and today I'm going to talk about vocational issues in higher education. Part one of my presentation. Is it vocation or vacation? Maybe you've heard someone say, if you do something you love, you won't have to work a day of your life. But what does vocation really mean? It comes from the Latin word vocare, which literally means to call. At some point in history, this word took the religious meaning to refer to the holy call of God to serve Him, right? But if you look at it in a dictionary, the definition reads strong feeling or suitability for a particular career or occupation. But I like to think of this word as, as a call that you answer, that you choose to answer. In my view, our environments, our society, they have these issues to be resolved, needs to be fulfilled. And those things are the ones that call you. They say, hey, I'm a problem, solve me. But in the end, it is you who decides to answer that call. So, in our country, what do the numbers tell us? Here we have a table of the permanence of students in higher education. This table tells us that 75% of students from 2017 to 2018, 75% of those students remained in the same institution they enrolled in and in the same major. Of the rest of those students, 76%, they changed majors within the same institution. And of the rest of those students, 82%, they changed institution and or major, right? So you may say, well, those are pretty high numbers, right? But still, there are thousands of people every year that keep changing careers, majors, institutions. So there is a deeper issue here. People want to study, but they don't know what or why they have to study. I think this problem is related to motivation, right? Motivation means enthusiasm for doing something or the need or reason for doing something. So it is closely related to the definition of vocation. They both have this concept of doing something, the action of doing something, right? So in my head, in my view, I think motivation and vocation, they work hand in hand. They can't be there can't be motivation without vocation, and vice versa. For example, if you have a clear goal, you know what you want to do, but you're too lazy to do it, you're just gonna let all these opportunities pass by you and do nothing. And when you really want to do something, you will have other responsibilities, or you will not have the time, etc. Or it could be the other way around. You have lots of enthusiasm, you're very energetic to do things, you know you can do them, but you don't have a clear goal. So you're gonna start doing something, you're gonna stop halfway through, and then you're gonna change to other thing. And then the same, you're gonna be at the middle point in that path, and you're gonna change again and again and again, never really completing anything, right? And this takes us to part two of my presentation, understanding your own brain. Why? Because motivation and vocation, they don't grow on trees. You can't go to the supermarket and ask for a pound of vocation. They exist here in your brain. So how does our brain work? Did you know we have three brains in our head? First, we have the neocortex, which is where we process all the sensory information from the environment. It is also where all rational thinking happens. Then we have the limbic brain. or emotional brain, which is responsible for maintaining chemical order in our bodies. It is also responsible for the autonomic nervous system, all these things that happen automatically in your body, like your heart rate or your respiratory, your breathing rhythm. It is also responsible for the endocrine system, releasing hormones to your body. Then we have the cerebellum, or literally it means in Latin, little brain. It is the seat of the subconscious mind, and it is also responsible for making all these very precise movements with your body. So how does this work? How do these three very different parts of our brain work together? When you have an experience, and an experience could be anything that happens to you, you process that information in your neocortex, in your thinking brain, right? And when you do that, all your neurons, they start linking up with each other, forming a kind of web, a pattern. And then the limbic brain takes this pattern and releases chemicals to your body. So in a way, it's like your brain is teaching your body what your mind has intellectually understood. But here is where it gets interesting. When you repeat these experiences over and over again, at some point you stop thinking about them in a rational way. They just happen. They become part of you, who you are. So, for example, you have an assignment to do, and you say, well, it's due next week. Yeah, I'm gonna do it later. I still have time. And you do it last minute. And then the next assignment, the same thing happens. Oh, you say, you first think, yeah, I still have time. I'm gonna do it later. And the next assignment, then the same thing, and then the same thing. At some point, you're just gonna stop worrying about time for assignments, because you're just gonna do them last minute. You will not think about it, saying, oh, I still have time, or when is it due? You will just do it last minute, because now that is who you are. So that is exactly how we create habits. It's these actions, behaviors, feelings, and emotions that we don't really think about them. They just happen in us. We don't, in a way, we know we do them, but we don't know how, right? And these things, it could be beneficial to you or detrimental. That is all up to you. Everybody has different ideas of reality. And that takes us to part 3 of my presentation, changing your reality. As our friend Thanos says, reality can be whatever we want. I like to think of reality as this, in a constructivist, I like to think of reality from a constructivist point of view. Of course, there are things outside of us, other people, things, but it is us who give them meaning. So in a way, we create reality. So this is how we construct reality, from our personality. And our personality is composed of how we think, how we act, how we feel. So how can we make this change from letting the environment dictate our behaviors, feelings, and ideas, to changing the environment through our ideas, behaviors, and feelings? Through a process called metacognition. Basically, metacognition is questioning all the things that you do, feel, and all your ideas, and trying to discover why they happen, or why does it happen when it happens. So I want you to do this exercise of thinking about your past, maybe a behavior that you had, your response to certain situations, or an idea that you've never questioned before, that you always thought for it to be true. Think about them. Why do they happen? From when did that reaction started happening, and why? And think about your future now. You in the future, do you still keep want do you still want to be that person in the future, or do you do you keep do you want to keep having those reactions, those emotions? If you found something you'd like to change, then you've already taken the first step to changing your reality. So trying to change is very difficult. Why? Because our bodies are so used to being the way they are, to getting those chemicals from our subconscious behaviors, that when we try to change, they experience a sort of mild abstinence, and they start asking you for these chemicals, right? But the two most common phenomenon that happen when you're trying to change is first the what the hell effect. That is a relapse in behavior that triggers a chain, that triggers so when we're trying to change, the two most common difficulties for that is the what the hell effect and the distraction effect. The first one, the what the hell effect is a relapse in behavior that triggers more relapses, right? And they take you back to your old behavior. So, for example, you're trying to eat healthy. Like you've been eating healthy for 2 months, let's say, and you go out with a friend and you buy an ice cream. You say, well, it's just an ice cream, right? No biggie, no big deal. And then it's lunchtime and you pass by a fast food joint and your friend says, hey, let's eat something. And you think, well, I already ate an ice cream, right? So what the hell? Let's just eat junk food, right? So you start having these behaviors from your old self. The second one is the distraction effect. And it's a phenomenon that happens when you're so focused on the goal that you forget the path that leads you to that goal. You're so focused on getting there that you start to lose performance in the task at hand. So it's like waiting to be a teacher, to be someone that likes teaching people, or is waiting for having a good mark to be a good student. You need to be those things now, and that goal will eventually and naturally come to you. So summarizing, vocation is something you strongly feel you need to do. It's not like do it what it's not just doing what you like or doing what you're good at. You need motivation to walk the path of your vocation, because with no motivation, you're never going to achieve your goals. Vocation and motivation exist in your brain. And as they exist in your brain, you can change your behaviors, your actions, your feelings to match what your vocation is. If you do that, you will find the motivation to achieve your goals. But we've already seen that it's very difficult to change for all of us if we don't question our behaviors, feelings, and actions through metacognition. Well, it is a very hard path, very tough path, but anyone can do it, right? It doesn't matter if you have little relapses as long as you keep at it. So in the end, it's not so much about the goal. It's not so much about being someone in the future, but being someone now. If you are now who you want to be, then all the other things naturally come to you. Well, I hope that this presentation was at least somewhat helpful to you, that you can question the way you've lived until now, and you can find your own path. Well, that's it. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.